Look at that fire. This is the drive we all want in our young squirrel dogs. But all too often it disappears. A promising young Feist or cur goes flat and burns out early. Today I'm breaking down why it happens and how I keep that treeing drive strong without burnout. Let's talk about what it looks like.
All right, so this is a pretty big deal, right? This has the ability to completely wreck our hunting partner and wreck a lot of hard work and money we've spent on a dog. So let's look at some things that I believe are responsible for burning a dog out, or just as effectively giving a dog a bad experience, making it not want to do it, which guys could also read as burnout. The first being doing the same thing in the same place over and over and over again. My Finnish dog does not hit the woods as hard on day 4 or 5 in a row as he does on day one on a hunt. That's a Finnish dog, not a dog that's just learning. So it's not too far of a stretch to imagine that if you take a puppy who in the beginning is really excited about this new adventure he's having, and you force this puppy to have the same exact experience at the same exact time at the same exact place every day, it's not going to take long for the shine, the new, as they say, to wear off of this process with the dog. And he's just going to be tired of it. He's going to get bored of it. It's going to get burnt out. So this could possibly set off a little bit of a chain reaction, and the fact that the way you react to it could give your dog a bad experience and make it not want to do it anymore. And that, we're very busy and we kind of can fall victim into wanting things to get done quickly on our time and progress at our speed, and not look at, hey, is this progressing at the speed the dog needs it to progress at? So let's say your dog is getting tired of doing the same thing over and over again in the same exact place, and he just starts slowing down on it. This makes you mad and frustrated, which your dog can pick up on and sense, and then you start yelling at your dog. Now you're scolding your dog. Now your dog's starting to associate a negative experience around the thing you want this dog to eagerly do for you for the rest of its life. Maybe you do worse than scold your dog. You know what I'm talking about. That has the potential to really turn your dog off of whatever it's doing when it has that horrible experience. But you are also not the only thing that can give your dog a bad experience, especially if you have a young dog. Think about the woods that you're taking out your dog in. Now, this is different everywhere you go, but I'll just give you an example of what my dogs hunt in. My dogs hunt in the national forest in north central Arkansas, pretty rugged, remote areas, absolutely loaded with wild hogs, bears. It's hot, it's steep, lots of snakes, lots of bugs, lots of other dogs, lots of loose dogs in rural areas. People let their dogs run loose and they end up on the national forest a lot. All of these things are things that it shouldn't take too much imagination on your part to see that could have very bad experiences with your dog, specifically a young dog learning the game. If your dog's out hunting and it gets mauled at the tree from another hunting dog, if your dog runs into a pack of wild hogs and those genetics take over and it goes chasing them, it gets cut up real bad or hurt real bad or smacked real bad or crushed, your dog may not have the same idea about how fun it is to follow you out into the woods anymore. Same thing goes with bears. I had my Finnish dog, pretty sure got smacked by a bear once. I don't know, I never saw it. I heard him baying on the ground, and I could never get closer than about 110 yards before the chase would keep going. And after about 3 or 4 repetitions of that, I just heard a loud "Bark," and I heard nothing. My sons were with me. They were very young at the time, and I had to stop and tell them, guys, we don't know what we're going to find down there, but you need to prepare yourself for it, because every time we turn these dogs out, they could die. Now, I thought he had found a hog or something, and the hog had killed him, and we were going to go down there and we were going to find our dog tore open. But about halfway down there, my dog came up the hill with big, scared bug eyes in a manner that said he wants absolutely no part of whatever it was down there anymore. So we turned around with him and we went back up the hill, and right at the very top of the hill was a big, fresh, steaming pile of bear crap. Luckily, my dog wasn't injured, but my guess is that bear swatted him, or he had a close call run in with that. Now, lucky for me, that was when my dog was about almost 3 years old. How do you think that could happen if it happened with a 3-month-old or a 5-month-old puppy? May not want to go hunting anymore. All right, so those are some prime examples of some main culprits that can be responsible for your dog just not having the drive to do what you want that dog to do. And I believe the common denominator in all those things with our hunting dog culture these days all tie in to starting a dog too soon. Starting a dog when they're young, starting a dog when they're not physically developed, when they're not fully mentally developed. Again, I've said it over and over, a squirrel is a complicated animal to chase. Your dog has a lot to figure out. The more developed their brain is when they start that, the easier time they're going to have, but they're also not going to process those what are horrible experiences, what could be dog career ending experiences when they're a puppy. They may have a much softer reaction to it if it only happens 6 months later, which is a very small window of time in the scheme of a decade or more of good solid hunting memories with a dog. Burnout is something that I constantly deal with. Like I said, my dogs don't hit the woods the same after 3 or 4 days of straight hunting as they do. So rarely, unless I'm actually hunting in the season, but especially when we're training or we're doing maintenance run in the summertime, rarely do my dogs go 2 days in a row. Um, I like to give them that day to recover physically. Even more important whenever they're young and they're a puppy, their body's not developed yet. They may tire out before you do, and you just may be pushing them and they may be exhausted. So giving them time to recover in between really helps them build up the anticipation of the chase, right? But it also lets their body recover so they feel good whenever they go out there for it. But the truth is, when you get a brand new puppy from 8 weeks old to about the 10-month mark, was whenever my dogs typically get their first sight chase. That's when they get their first encounter with a squirrel, unless their first purposeful encounter with a squirrel, unless it happens accidentally before then. I've got my hands full, and I think everyone should have their hands full. There's a lot of foundation laying to be done before they ever go hunting. I mean, yeah, genetically everything's there, right? And your job's just to guide that dog down the right path so those genetics can work and he can go do what he was bred to do, which is chase stuff up a tree and bark at it. But there's a whole lot more to that. When you build a house, you build your roof on something. Think of hunting as the roof of a home, and you have lots of structure underneath that needs to be developed. Things like basic obedience, things like familiarity with all the different kind of environments you're going to be asked to hunt in, things like trust with the owner. All of that stuff is super important. Gun breaking to the report of a rifle or a shotgun. Lots of dogs get ruined because people are just so eager to go get them hunting that they take them out to a tree, and at 6 months old, they got enough going for them. They're going to chase that squirrel if it runs, and then you light off a 12 gauge right behind them, and that dog's terrified. And guess what? Now it's associating that terrified moment with chasing that squirrel up a tree and that giant loud boom that's going to happen the next time it does it. You've got a lot to keep you busy until that dog hits a little more physically mature and mentally mature state. A slow progression that builds confidence in your dog and slowly builds off of itself should be the goal on the way to a finished dog, and not just how fast can I get my dog hunting. So burnout, yeah, it can be burnout. You can do too much over and over and over again and burn your dog out. But I think we're calling 60% of what we're calling burnout, I think, is possibly bad experience. All right, I hope you found this useful. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, because there's plenty more content just like this coming.